Hello, Stephen White, Trekboy89 from SteveArts89. Yes, finally, we saw the bridge in motion. We've been teased for the last week with one shot in the trailer of the bridge, the view screen basically on red alert, and that's it. But finally, we actually got to see the bridge. Now, unfortunately, here in Australia, Netflix delivers Star Trek Discovery around 6 p.m. On Friday, so it was already all over the internet. So I'd seen a couple of shots of Pike coming onto the ship, and just a couple of shots of him in the command chair and number one and that. So it was a little bit spoiled because we'd only seen the front section for the last week and been teased and at red alert. And the thing that surprised me the most was that because people have been complaining that it looked like a candy store, or it looks like a neon, like it looked like Blade Runner, or too much neon, too bright, so many lights. And I thought, it's just because it's at red alert. When it's not at red alert, they won't all be on. It'll be nice and monochrome and everything. And lo and behold, they just changed colour. So I had a bit of trouble with that. I looked at it and I thought, you have these voids of darkness where you can't see, and then you have these strips of white, and it's very contrasty, and it looks a lot like Tron. So I'm kind of calling it the Tron Bridge. We had the I Bridge, which looked like the Apple Store on the JJ films, and now we've got the Tron Bridge. But I think it's more faithful to the bridge design from the original series than for our beloved ship behind me. It's definitely design wise more loyal. It's just where the doors are located. Everything. The only thing I found a bit condescending were the little blinkies running along the top, just for no reason, just out of touch. I don't know what they're there for. They just seem to be there. They seemed a bit condescending, like, oh, you want the blinky lights, we'll give you the blinky lights, here they are. I'm like, no, we didn't need the blinky lights. It wasn't about the blinky lights. It was about the overall look. And we just have to accept on some level that this is a visual reboot, and you can argue that it shouldn't have been done, and I don't think it should have been done. I don't think it needed to be done. I think they could have stuck with the original aesthetic and just modernised it a little bit and kept that retro style. I think that could have worked. I think they could actually do it. I know some people agree with me, but a lot of people think that's just insane. They just don't have a lot of vision. And I don't mean like Star Trek continues replicating the original series exactly. I mean modernising it, but keeping the basic style and aesthetics there. And this is when they succeed with the rebooting, is when they keep, like the guy from Trek House was saying, you keep the basic shapes and then just change the details, smooth it, round it, add extra lights, whatever. Just do things to make it look more modern, look better, but you keep the basic look. So when you look at it, you know that's the bridge, that's the D7, that's the Enterprise, and they've managed to do that in the second season. The first season, it was a disaster. They seemed to have two train of thoughts. One was make it totally different, and the other was do it within the license of 25%, and the two were conflicting. You'd have things that look just like the original series, like the phasers, the communicators, stuff like that, the props, and then you'd have things like the uniforms that would look wrong. You'd have the Discovery itself, which kind of looks like it fits into that 70s revision sort of era, phase one era of Star Trek from those old designs that fans are familiar with. Then we've got all the other ships, and the Klingon ships look nothing like D7, and now we've got the D7, and it looks actually like the D7, but it's supposed to be a new ship, but it should look like that the whole time. Or they could have just called it a D6 instead of calling it D7, and it's not a D7 because someone leaned over the designer's shoulder and said, make it look totally different, can't look like a Klingon ship, even though it's a Klingon ship. So a lot of that crap is gone now, and hopefully if they actually merge Viacom and Paramount, there won't be any licensing issues at all, but they're still affecting the design of the show, because although they've done a good job of making it look like the Enterprise and making it look like the bridge, they still couldn't do 100% of a modernised version. They still had to have that difference to differentiate it from the JJ bridge or the original bridge. So that's frustrating, because they do have that 25% hands tied behind the back with that. So you sort of look at it and you go, that's okay. But what could we have had if they didn't have any limitations? If they had 100% freedom to do what they wanted or what they knew we wanted. So that's always going to be a bit disappointing, and it may change in the third season, although from the sounds of it, we're not going to see the Enterprise in the third season. I'm not going to go into the story arc, story issues, but it looks like season 3, the Discovery is not going to be anywhere near Earth or the Enterprise. But yeah, we also, before we even got to the bridge, we saw the corridor, and that's when we saw the colour. And Giorgio, being the snarky bitch that she is, of course, commented on orange. And I agree, I hate orange. And they kind of made the bridge more of a red, which kind of works. But so we see the corridor with the grills on either side of and everything, and it just paid that little bit of homage to the Enterprise and that look, and they had a little bit of the TOS theme, so it all kind of worked. I mean, like I said, you've got to accept, I've come to accept that this is a visual reboot. It is a different universe and one of possibly many timelines within the same universe. It's not canon, and that's good, because my problem with them the first season was they were telling us it's canon, and we're looking at it going, no, it's not, and they're saying yes, it is, and we're like, no, it's not. So that was frustrating. That's kind of all moot now, because we know Prime Universe was never the same universe as the movies and the other TV series that came before it. And we've got different timelines within this universe as well, so none of those canon issues are really relevant. It sucks that they went that way, but that's where they are, so that's just where we need to look at it, because that's what it is. There's no point crying about what it isn't. We just need to look at it for what it is, and for what it is, it's okay. There's a lot of story problems and a lot of direction issues and things, and the theme, like, it's too dark, all that sort of stuff, but the aesthetics are getting better. The uniforms, the coloured uniforms look okay. The bridge looks okay. The phases that I originally loved them, they always worked. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I actually enjoyed it. I actually was excited to see it. I was looking forward to it. I enjoyed seeing it. I've managed to embrace Discovery despite its flaws, and I can actually enjoy it at times. And then something stupid comes along and slaps me in the face and reminds me that it's Discovery. But then there's more explosions and shiny lights and things, so I can forget for a minute. So you can sit down and enjoy it once, but then once you start to look at it, you find the plot holes and stuff. So just like the movies, like Into Darkness and that. So okay, so then the last thing we see of the Enterprise, is the briefing room, and it looks a lot like the briefing room in the original series. And we get the gorgeous round windows on the side, which are possibly the ones at the front of the ship, but it's hard to tell exactly where they are on this ship, because it could be anywhere, and I don't even know where those windows were in the original. I think I saw conflicting versions of what was in that room and what those windows were. Some sources said they were windows, other sources said they were part of the sensors or something. So, I don't know. We'll work that out. I'm sure at some point they'll show us where everything is on the ship. There'll be some sort of floor plan or cutaway or something. But yeah, it looked a lot like the original. Too dark, like the rest of the ship. But it gave that sense, it gave that feel, and I enjoyed it. And I think we deserve it. We've been screaming for it, and we should have gotten more, but we got something, and that's some progress. But I'm not sure what we're going to get next season. Now, I have to say, my favourite bridge is the Star Trek V bridge. Now, the original bridge, it's classic, but I always found it too straight and too many hard lines, and that all came down to the production basically working with wood and not really having the money to really craft the bridge they could have. Now, and the same goes for the Cage Enterprise bridge. I like the colours better because I hated the orange. But same problem. Now, all they had to do was smooth out a lot of those lines, add a bit more technology, and like some fan art has done, and it would have been beautiful. Now, the motion picture ones, I love that design the most. The colours, it's all very monotone, and it's a bit flat. In 1, 2 was too dark, 3 was bright, but then you could see how clunky and too much detail there was in the panels and everything. 4 was like the precursor to the Apple Bridge. It was too bright. When they got to 5, they got it perfect. They had the lines of the motion picture bridge, but they had the softness and the comfortable, the colour, the beige, carpeted, next-gen sort of feel, which I just felt like you just lay down on the carpet in front of the view screen and just watch movies or something. I love that bridge. For 6, they made it a bit more darker, a bit more colder. But the contrasting of the maroon and the gunmetal and the grey, that was kind of nice, but I still prefer the 5. And the JJ films, they kind of worked in their way. They were very bright and they had some nice features, but I never really felt comfortable on that bridge. It was too much moving, too much, everything was moving. So you never really got to sit and live with it. So yeah, just wanted to say my favourite bridge, Star Trek V. This bridge, the Tron bridge, I just wish they'd been a bit more faithful to the original, but I also understand license-wise they can't. So you can enjoy it for what it is, but you're always going to think, what could we have had? So trying to be glass half full and glass half empty in as well, I've sort of ended up. But that's my thoughts. Feel free to share yours in the comments. I'd love to know what people think about the bridge, and any advice on my videos, if I can, how to do a better job. Feel free to let me know, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the comments, and hopefully we'll have more to look forward to next week, and maybe even more in the next season if they don't end up on the other side of the universe 1,000 years away. Thanks, bye.